What's up, everyone? It's Scotty with MoneyVest. So markets here absolutely ripping to new all-time highs with the NASDAQ just over 17,000 points, the S&P 500 over 5,300, and the Dow Jones also very, very strong move to the upside, just trading a little bit over 38,000 points on the day. So across the board, very, very strong momentum here. And of course, Nvidia, the big news piece here, Nvidia crossing the $3 trillion market cap for the first time ever, and for the first time ever becoming the second largest publicly traded company, overtaking Apple. It's not every day that you see these types of moves. Of course, this was a very, very significant upside shot here from Nvidia. And just to put things in context, this right here is some stats that I think were very, very interesting. Nvidia is up another 6%, including today's after-hours move to record $1,237. This puts the stock up 155% in 2024 alone, adding $1.83 trillion of market cap. And to put this in perspective, Nvidia has now added as much market cap as the entire value of Amazon in 6 months. And not only is Nvidia now the second largest publicly traded company in the world, it has also encountered almost half of the S&P 500's year-to-date market gain as well. Phenomenal. I mean, just absolutely incredible. And congratulations, huge congratulations to everybody who's been in Nvidia or AMD or semiconductor stocks in general, because ASML also pushed higher over 9% on the day. We did have across the board a lot of semis pushing higher. And again, congratulations to everybody who's been investing or trading in these companies. Some of the more thematic investing themes we talked about in the beginning were, of course, cybersecurity, semiconductors, solar powers, renewable energy, those three being the most important ones. Of course, solar renewable energy has not really performed well. Cybersecurity has done well, and semis have just absolutely taken off in the last 6 months, 12 months, and especially since October of 2022 when ChatGPT was released. Nvidia is now up a whopping 1,000% from those levels. So, as always, if you enjoyed this video and find it helpful, please make sure that you drop a like. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're just joining us for the first time. And more importantly, the link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below. I did open up a few more spots for the 51% discount for the MoneyVest beta launch. This is going to be happening in the first week of July. We'll give access to all of our members, existing members, for the beta launch. And you can give us feedback. And we're trying to build something that's amazing that you can access and, of course, enjoy and use every day to analyze individual stocks on a fundamental basis. So right now, this is what it looks like. You're going to have access to all of our calculators, discounted cash flow, discounted earnings, multiple models, income statement, balance sheet, cash flow. You can plot a lot of different charts and graphs and, of course, make it more functional. And again, visualize a lot of these things. If you want to look at the 5 years, you can look at the 5 years as well for a lot of different stocks, as well as our MoneyVest metrics broken down by several different years. And it's going to give you a little bit of an idea of the overall trend for some of the metrics that we look at, such as revenue, shares outstanding, free cash flow, efficiency-wise, profitability-wise, valuation-wise. How is the valuation doing compared to years in the past? So again, link's going to be down below. 51% discount available for a limited time. I've opened up a few more spots. And on top of that, you can also get a 16% annual discount that's going to be available for 1 year as well. So first things first, let's go over to the first time ever event, Nvidia crossing over Apple for the first time ever to become the second largest publicly traded company in the world. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually crosses over Microsoft as well in the coming days, because the stock split takes place on Monday, June 10th. And prior to that, I wouldn't be surprised if that momentum carries forward Nvidia to higher and higher heights here and crossing over Microsoft as becoming the biggest company, largest publicly traded company in the world. But this you don't see very often. Apple knocked down to the third spot. There was a time when Apple was number one. Of course, Microsoft took over, and now Nvidia has also taken over Apple here. So absolutely incredible achievement. I mean, I'm lost for words for how well Nvidia has performed in the last 6 to 12 months. Nvidia carries the world and the S&P 500 on its shoulders. Largest positive and negative contributions to the year-to-date return on the S&P 500 through May 31st, 2024. Nvidia is, again, miles ahead of any other company out there, putting a 32% contribution in the S&P 500 so far in 2024. So very, very strong move to the upside. Now, moving and shifting gears to the market. So this right here was actually a report from Goldman Sachs, and they mentioned that a flood of cash from passive equity allocations will pour into the stock market in early July, setting up a continuing rally through the early summer. And according to Goldman Sachs Group here, a new quarter, new half year, second half, this is when wall of money comes into the equity markets quickly. And since 1928, the first 15 days of July have been the best 2 weeks trading period of the year for equities, and they tend to fade after July 17th, according to the analysts. And the S&P 500 index has seen a positive for 9 straight Julys, posting an average return of 3.7%. And the NASDAQ 100 has an even better track record, posting gains of 16 straight Julys with an average return of 4.6% as well. So very, very strong potential catalyst coming up in the upcoming weeks here in July. And first half of July has seen a very nice gain of 2.5%. And based on the calculations, roughly 9 basis points of new capital gets put into work every July. For this year, it would be close to $26 billion based on the $29 trillion in passive assets available for investment. So again, June already, Tom Lee put a price target of 5,500, and in the first couple weeks of July also there's expectations for us to see a very, very strong momentum and for us to see that rally continue. Nvidia up 5%, Broadcom, AMD, everything pushing higher, 4, 5, 6% here. Microsoft up almost 2%, Google up over 1%, Meta up over 3.7%, Amazon also pushing up over 1% on the day. So this right here is the entire market, and this is the year-to-date gain for S&P 500 stocks here. Tesla still struggling, down almost 30%. Amazon is up over 19%, Meta's up almost 40%, Google's up over 25%, and then we've got Nvidia up over 147% with TSMC up 56%, Broadcom up 26% as well. So again, huge momentum coming in for a lot of semiconductors and chip stocks on the year. Technology once again leading the charge, followed by comm services, industrial, materials, healthcare, cyclicals, all pushing higher in the last 1 week. Again, real estate, healthcare, consumer defensives, industrial technology, all sectors are green except for materials and energy. And in the last 1 month, again, technology, comm services, healthcare, all pushing higher with cyclicals and energy selling off. We got silver prices, sugar prices, oats, lumber, copper, palladium, soybean, everything up except for orange juice selling off quite aggressively, along with lean hogs and Bitcoin just over 70,000 and Ether just over 3,800 as well. So coming back over to the market, the S&P index, the MoneyVest index is now at 3.7. So once again, kind of rotating back higher. Did pull back on April 20th. That was a pretty decent buying opportunity. Then, of course, pushed up to as much as 4, rolled over down to 3.39. And again, volatility also coming back down to 12.62. So if you really take into account where we are with the volatility at the moment, considering the percentiles, considering the analysis related to different levels that we're watching for the volatility, you'll notice that we are back down to rare occurrence. We are back in the rare territory for the volatility here at 12.63 in the 14.6 percentile for volatility. So the reason why I keep addressing this is because it is important and it has worked every time, right? So the last time we were down to these levels back on 11.5 and again 11.55 back on May 22nd, we did see a spike of almost 30%, which resulted in what? The S&P 500, of course, selling off and rolling over. So if I come over to the S&P over here, let's just go over to the daily chart. And you'll notice that this right here was the dip or the pullback that we witnessed from May 22nd. It was down a little bit over 2.7%. So, of course, hitting new all-time highs, that's great. That's fantastic. That's exactly what we want to see. Let me just bring up my chart here. So yeah, S&P 500 over here, hitting new all-time highs. That's exactly what we want to see. But we also have to keep in mind where the volatility is, because every time the volatility comes down to these rare or extreme rare readings, and we are coming down to really low percentiles, it's only a matter of time. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when the volatility spikes again and the market starts rolling over. And that's going to give us an opportunity to once again do what? Dollar cost average and buy into the markets again. So resistance closer to $15, not really a resistance, but some levels to keep in mind. 15, 18, 20, and 24 are going to be the levels to watch for volatility as well. Going over to crude oil, and crude oil here with a big drop, as we had already discussed in our previous videos, consolidating at this support at $72, $73 a barrel at the moment. And really just this right here is going to be that area of support and demand for crude oil at the moment. And then, of course, coming back over to the markets, S&P at an all-time high, breaking out very nicely over 5350, and NASDAQ also crossing over 17,187 points. Huge breakout, up almost 2% on the day, and of course hitting new all-time highs with a very, very strong close on the day for both of these indices. So that's where we are. Huge breakouts, all-time highs. Congratulations to everyone. And markets doing what they do best, and that is continuing to push higher. That's why time in the markets is always better than timing the markets. That's why it's really important to stay invested, capitalize on all these gains, stay invested, and of course take advantage of all these profits here, and only move around with your risk exposure, your risk reward ratios, and also your cash exposure if you are looking at the markets and they're very favorable from a risk reward standpoint. They're looking at very nice, appealing, attractive prices. They're giving us that opportunity. That's when we can dollar cost average and be more aggressive. But other than that, I think it's really important to kind of sit back and also just be a little bit more patient with our investing style. Coming over to individual stocks. So starting with Apple, and Apple here also crossing back over that $3 trillion market cap, sitting at pretty much 195, 196, and that is the resistance. So this right here is going to be that level inside this red rectangle as a huge area of supply and resistance. Very nice move to the upside from this trade idea, up almost 16-17% for Apple as well. Talking about Amazon, and again, Apple also is overbought. So if you come over to Apple here, you'll notice that we are trading at overbought conditions with the R side over 72, MACD, and the L3 banker oscillator, everything at pretty much overbought conditions here. So we just got to be careful with a potential pullback, which is not unlikely and could be on the horizon. Amazon recovering a little bit back higher from 174, 175. Again, oversold on the R side, the MACD as well. The L3 banker oscillator also was selling off quite aggressively, and the next resistance target is going to be closer to 188, 189 for Amazon moving forward. So that is going to be that next target to watch for Amazon. Tesla, on the other hand, again, the volume continues to be really low, only 57 million shares traded, so there's not a lot of excitement or talk or anything around Tesla right now. So 175 is where it's at. Huge resistance and area of supply over here for Tesla in and around 194 to as much as $210 per share for Tesla. And we're really seeing a lot of consolidation for Tesla at the moment. So support level is going to stay roughly at 145 to as much as 153 for the company. Nvidia, I don't even know where to begin. Even after hours, pushing higher, up another almost 1% to 1,235, so massive move to the upside. Of course, it is incredibly overbought on the R side, the MACD as well. Stock split coming up on June 10th, so just got to wait and see where this ends up, where this stock ends up going. Is it going to be straight up to the moon here, another $4 or $5 trillion market cap, or is it going to start to stabilize a little bit, considering how much it has rallied and what the craziness of valuation at 34, 35 times sales it continues to trade at. Absolutely incredible. Talking a little bit about AMD now. So Advanced Micro Devices also consolidating sideways, getting validated and supported here at that support of 160. So this right here is going to be that level to keep in mind for Advanced Micro Devices. Resistance back up to 183. It's really just been consolidating sideways a little bit here inside that range at the moment for Advanced Micro Devices. Talking about PayPal, and PayPal here also pushing up over 32 basis points. I got a huge resistance up to as much as $65, so that is going to stay put as a resistance all the way up to as much as 68 to 70 bucks. That's a double top resistance for PayPal, which it desperately needs to break out in order for us to see newer highs back up to $76, $77. But right now we're just seeing a lot of consolidation for PayPal. Support level is going to stay put at $57 for the company as well. Talking about Visa, and Visa here also validating that support and starting to move right back up. RSI, MACD, and the L3 banker oscillator starting to see that momentum back up, and resistance is going to stay put at $282. So that is going to be that next level to watch for Visa, and support level roughly at around 266, 267 for the company as well. Talking about Meta Platforms with another huge breakout up over 3.7%, back up to almost $500. Next resistance and target is going to be at close to $500 to $530 per share for Meta, with a very, very strong support here sitting inside this green rectangle between 455 and 476 for Meta as well. So a lot of consolidation sideways here, and of course starting to see that momentum back up for Meta. Next target is going to be 515 to 530 for this company. Netflix, on the other hand, also moving higher, up almost 3%. So very nice move. And this right here is going to stay put as a support now at close to 636, and the next resistance all the way up to $700 per share for Netflix, and a much stronger support here down to $598, close to $600 for Netflix as well. Talking about Google, and Google here also up over 1%, 177. So there's a lot of companies that are right now trading at pretty much all-time highs. We got Google, Apple, Netflix, Nvidia, of course, Amazon, Microsoft. A lot of companies trading pretty much at all-time highs. Massive moves, huge gains so far in 2024. So sometimes it's like there's not really much for us to go over and for us to do other than just sit back and enjoy the ride, continue to hold on to what we have, of course, even add more if there's value there, or start selling calls if there's potential to sell calls on them as well. So support level at close to 173 for Google, and again 180 is going to be that resistance, at pretty much that all-time high for Google here. Talking about Microsoft, and Microsoft here also pushing higher. So if you quickly break this down, so Microsoft here pushing up over 1%. So market cap now 3.15 trillion. Nvidia has been on everybody's tail, just kind of trying to catch up to all these companies. But support level now is going to stay put right over here at 417, 418. And the next resistance and target is going to be all the way up to as much as $430 for Microsoft as well. So a lot of consolidation sideways. Support level inside this green rectangle with a resistance all the way up to $430 for Microsoft as well. So last but not least, we got Enphase and Costco. Enphase here really coming up to its triple top resistance. Just really needs to break out over $138 per share for Enphase, and the next target and resistance is going to be closer to 151 for Enphase, and support level inside this green rectangle, and that area of support here in the $108, $109 per share for Enphase as well. So a lot of consolidation sideways, and that is going to be that next resistance and target at close to 138 that Enphase needs to break out of. Costco continues to rip higher, 834, up another 84 basis points. Support level is going to stay put right over here at close to around $784 per share. And that is going to be that level to keep in mind as a support. Of course, very, very overbought on the RSI and the MACD as well. So hope you all enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And again, links to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining us. And of course, getting access to the entire beta launch and the platform that we're going to be launching here for all the existing members. 51% off currently. And that's the pricing that you can lock in forever, including a 16% annual discount available until the end of this month. So as always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.